guys. How are you? Maybe it's gonna push you at home plus a coat.
But short sleeve. There. Oh, another one came in. Public comment. Oh.
Here's another.
Yeah, this just came in like while I was driving over here.
He said, but you did, that light show ain't bright, like me.
How are you?
Figure out how to say this name I gotta pronounce. So, no, it's the audit people, so. Who is the audit people? Oh, here we go. I'm about to skip right over it. hospital comes and says, hey, right, hold on just a little bit longer and you're fine. They're playing kid chicken a little bit.
You would probably hear it.
They're good. Their values went up, not down.
Oh, it did. It's very dim from over there.
Nobody really wants to hear.
You have to be at the right angle or you won't. Doesn't look like it's lit. This one is dim. Very.
This is half a big one. So you were at the, you had a big vacation. You went to another country.
Yeah, we left July. We flew out July 4th from Charlotte direct to Munich, and I came back on the 27th.
You had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Was it just you?
We brought our younger daughter.
Yeah.
But she had a 10-day chamber music festival nearby that she had been to before. And so we got settled in Munich for the first 3 days, and she got over to her little town nearby. And then Laura and I traveled mainly together with our friends.
Yeah. I could be in a meeting, you're being yelled at instead.
And the oxen house to catch us. And at that point, we took a train to Geneva. Went up to some old French friends of mine I've seen in 25 years. Spent the weekend with them.
I can do it after 20 minutes if I want. But that cuts people off. That doesn't happen.
And your oldest one is where?
Well, what I will say is, like, if you're going to say the same thing you haven't heard somebody else say, it must be time. Good evening and welcome to the July 28th, 2025 meeting of the Weaverville Town Council. I'm calling this meeting to order. And I want to tell everyone, I hope that they are staying safe in this heat. This heat has really been bad lately. Everyone hates it. But I had not one but two instances where people had heat-related falls or other ailments this weekend, and so I had to call on the fire department one day and the police department the other day, and both responded very appropriately. So our folks are out there trying to take care of people in the heat, but it is dangerous. People are getting sick. You all have had an opportunity to review the agenda ahead of time. Is there any adjustments that need to be made to the agenda? And if not, is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I make a motion to approve it.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. It is the responsibility of all of us on council to report any conflicts of interest and to avoid any appearance as such. Is there any items on the agenda tonight that represent a conflict of interest for any of the council members? Excellent. Next item up is our consent agenda, and Manager Harris, would you go through the items in tonight's consent agenda?
Yes, sir, Mayor, Council. For your consent agenda, the first item is June 17th, 2025, the Town Council regular workshop meeting minutes. And then on page 5, the June 23rd, 2025, Town Council regular meeting minutes. Page 10 is the year-end tax. As of end of June, we've received 99.87 of the town's property tax has been collected. And in the month of June, property tax levy and release and refund was $3.17. And for motor vehicle levy, release was $86.99. So moving on to page 16, we have a budget amendment for your police department and public works department. A portion of our quarterly distribution that the town receives from the ABC store funds is allocated to alcohol and law enforcement activities. For the quarter ending at June the 30th, the town has received $11,022.31 for alcohol education and $7,872.94 for law enforcement. The town received a donation of $107.87 from the Lake Louise Preservation Association, which will be put toward grounds maintenance around Lake Louise. A MOU has been established with Buncombe County Schools and Weaverville Police Department, signed on August 31st of 2023. The town received $53,128.50 total as a reimbursement for our SORs provided by the Weaverville Police Department during fiscal year 2024 and 25. The Community Foundation of Western North Carolina has awarded the town a grant of $10,000 for our nature park to be used in the following purposes: the removal of invasive, planting pollinator gardens or indigenous plantings, and hosting a volunteer work day. Again, you've got that budget amendment is attached. So moving on to page 19 is an appointment for your tree board. Resignation has been received from a regular member of the tree board who resides outside of our town limits. We received an application from Andrew Shelton, who resides in our town limits, and the mayor and council has recommended to appointment to fill this unexpired term. For a motion on that, Andrew Shelton as a regular member resident to serve at the vacant seat on the tree board before an unexpired term ending in May of 26. And then on page 21, a setting of the public hearing for zoning text amendments. On the previous month, staff has presented 2 proposed text amendments to the planning board related to certain signage in residential districts and creation of an R6 zoning district. The planning board has offered a unanimous favorable recommendation on both of these matters to be eligible for action, and a public hearing must be conducted. The action we're requesting tonight on our consent agenda is for council to set a public hearing date on proposed text amendment for August the 25th at 6 p.m. Here in our council chambers. And that concludes your consent agenda, sir.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So make that motion.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let me just say that you may not all be aware, but in the past year, we have rocked it on the grant writing process. We have raised millions of dollars for this town, saving taxpayers money, considerable amount of money. And I just want to say thanks to the staff for taking a new attitude towards grant writing and being so successful at it this year. Next up is the town manager's report. Mr. Harris.
Mayor and council, our Code Red early notification, I've sat in several meetings lately and to include the WEDAC part, or economic development. One of the topics that come up was early notification and how people can, and if we can do some training on public service announcements and having people prepared now that we're in hurricane season again. Would like to remind the community as well as the members here in public tonight, we do offer such things as the Code Red, which is a early warning notification. There's some sheets on the table that the people in the audience can take with them tonight. There's a QR code. In recent weeks, there have been some challenges across the U.S., so we know weather patterns are changing, being the floods in Texas, Chapel Hill area, Pinehurst area had significant flooding damage from another tropical storm that washed out some roadways and a dam in that area, caused significant havoc to those with members being rescued of the community. So again, we would just like to reiterate for our Code Red early warning notification, and also staff is available anytime to work with homeowners associations in preparation for hurricane and pre-packing of a list of items that in case residents needed to go back. For our Truist Charitable Fund for Arbor Day Foundation grant, I would like to thank our town clerk, Tamara Mercer. She worked diligently to put into a Truist Hurricane Recovery Grant Program. We have been awarded $35,000 grant to cover the cost of arborists to conduct a tree inventory and hazard assessment survey and a tree replacement program. The tree board is attached, their summary is attached in your packet itself. For private property debris removal, we are switching effective this past Sunday to the SMART program with the state. We met with state emergency management officials and our contractors, Debris Tech, as well as SDR for Southern Disaster Recovery. We were having some challenges with communications for round 1, round 2, and now there's a round 3. When the contractors were reaching out to the residents, letting them know they were approved and not approved. So we sat down with the state and worked on this program to have somebody reiterate the importance of this communication aspect. But what this SMART program does is it takes us out of being the middle person. So effective Sunday, all the invoices from SDR and Debris Tech will go directly to the state. And the state will cover those invoices versus funneling it through us for and us waiting on FEMA for reimbursements in that aspect. So that's where we're moving forward on the private property debris removals, and there's been roughly about 20 applicants in each round that were submitted for approval. Salute to Summer Kids Party. We hosted it last year with the WBA. Really successful event, preparing kids and going back to school. And community was involved in that, and it was such a big hit that the WBA and Blue Mountain Pizza are putting on again. It will take place in our nature park on August the 23rd from 11 to 2. This is a free community event with entertainment, water obstacle course, and vendors, and free activities and treats. Town staff is supporting this event. On a side note, we spoke with the WBA on the 22nd about the direction of the town and look forward to our continued collaboration and business opportunities. Our financial audit, we're coming up on that time again now that we have made it through the budget process. So Tanya survived the budget, so now we get the luxury of dealing with Golden Killian again. To perform our audit, they will be in Town Hall the week of August the 4th conducting that audit. We anticipate no challenges with that due to the staff putting in time for that, and we've got putting all the packets together now to make it a seamless process for them when they come in. Our Summer Strolls Community Walk is part of the Safe Routes to School initiative. It's led by the Land of Sky Regional Council. Summer Stroll will be held on July the 30th, starting at Wellbred Bakery. The walk will last approximately 30 minutes and is open to all. The goal is to encourage walking as a regular mode of transportation, foster social connections, and support small businesses. Kids will have an opportunity to win a treat by being the first to finish their provided bingo card. As mentioned at last month's council meeting, we met with the primary school, the principal there, to talk about some growth and how the town could be more of a strategic partner and collaboration moving forward. Weaverville Elementary has a new principal for this year, be his first year in elementary, and we met with them last week. Mr. Billy Harrell was the new principal selected there, and we've had a productive meeting, again, working with the collaboration and partnerships, something we're looking forward to and being involved with the schools, and that includes everything from staff serving lunch there to participating in reading activities and giving the opportunity to Public Works and fire staff to interact and bring trucks to the school for the children to be involved and look at. The Asheville Butterfly Trail Program, we talked about that at a previous council meeting, but town staff has began working with the Butterfly Trail Committee on the installation of the sculpture and the educational kiosk, currently to be scheduled to be located at our clock lot to provide a fun way of education to the public on important pollinator gardens. This will work and ramp up in early fall. We did look at a couple of different options, one being the nature park and the clock lot. One of the requirements with the ADA and having that flat land for parking accessible is the reason we ended up at the clock lot, to make it more accessible for others versus putting it down in the nature park itself. But we do plan on adding some more pollinator areas in the nature park and directing people that are visiting to go down in that area and check out our nature park. So which leads me into the nature park. Community Foundation of WNC recently notified the town they were a recipient of the $10,000 donation. This money is to be used for the removal of invasive species and expansions of our pollinator garden, as mentioned in our budget amendment. Haven't gotten all the details yet. We are pleased that we have some unexpected funds to support this popular nature park as we expand those programs in there. The handrail installation down at Lake Louise on the rock steps leading to the community center from Lake Louise Drive, those have been installed. However, they are waiting on re-sculpturing of the stone that had to be disturbed to install that. So that's why it's still roped off. Our public works staff is working on putting more stone in place and rocks to make those steps more stable. But again, the handrails have been installed to make that a safer transition for people walking up. Our July 4th event, we hosted the band breakfast for dinner, provided the entertainment. It started around 7, followed by fireworks that started at approximately 9:30 that evening. It was a hot and long day for all staff. We had a good turnout downtown. As with any event, our biggest concern is with safety. On the fireworks side, we did have some things. There was a small fire that was handled by staff on site. The fireworks did not discharge properly. Some shot across and some did not shoot at all. I mean, and that's, reiterating not letting anyone pass the fountain. That's the reason behind that, is because as that show is going on, we don't know any type of delay or which way they may or may not shoot. And as this incident that night proved, that we were very fortunate to not have any energies and taking the safety of our visitors in mind and handling that incident. But as far as safety goes, we did have some people drive around the barriers, come through to Main Street and pull in and park, as well as there was a couple parking citations issued. So as always, no matter the measures that we take, trying to look at safety and risk management analysis, with all of our events, there's always going to be some challenges and struggles, but our police department and staff are due diligently looking how we can prevent and move forward in our after action reviews of everything that we do. Fire Ridge Historical Museum, their quarterly report is attached in your report for your review. Working in marking the town's 150th anniversary during the town's 4th of July event, they provided a decorative signage in the downtown area and held downtown walking tours with approximately 60 participants in that. And again, their quarterly report is attached. To give you an update on pickleball, town staff continues to hear concerns on both sides of the pickleball and the recreation complex. Sound curtains have been installed and additional trees have been planted, and there's very little that can be done. As far as the buffer side, one of the things that I do think we can monitor, looking at increasing a buffer zone, is that in an area that we have cornhole, it stays wet most of the time and doesn't seem to get a whole lot of activity use. So as we evaluate this, one of the things I want to look at doing is see if we can put some more shrubbery in that area to act as more of a sound barrier. I do think that's one of the things that we can look at to help offset some more sound barriers to give us some protection in the area, looking at the site itself. Right now, it's open for play in the evenings in March and October, where there's daylight play, and are advocating for expansion of the hours in itself. Again, staff has met with both sides of the issue, but asking for town council input on that. And I've heard back from a lot of the council members, and Mr. Mayor, correct me if the council would like to go a different direction, but in some of our conversations in our ordinance, it does allow the manager to set the hours. We're still evaluating that and looking at and meeting with all sides, looking for a way to move forward in that. But the last direction I received from the council is to study that and do the job that y'all pay me to do and make the right decisions and move us forward. So unless council has some other direction on that, again, I'll be glad to take any discussion on that you'd like, but that seems to be the consensus of council moving forward. But just in the history of it, looking at different things out there and trying to study it, and me trying to learn about it for one, so that I can make the most informed decision possible. The pool that was there was closed in the early 90s and was built in 1959. So again, the pool was there for quite some time, and so, but again, it closed in the early 90s, so we did have a lapse in time of recreational activities in that area. So that's something that I did uncover, trying to learn more about that area and looking at the recreational facilities there. The planning board had a regular meeting scheduled. They're looking at changing with a unanimous vote. Meeting on July the 1st, the planning board established that they wanted to do their regular meetings beginning the first Monday of each month at 4 p.m. The meeting dates will be altered if there is a Monday holiday such as Labor Day. For our water treatment plant resiliency project, the bid opening on the raw water intake generator installation and chlorine gas conversion projects for the treatment plant was held on June the 4th. TP Howard Plumbing Company submitted the only bid with a price of $1,568,000. This bid is over budget by more than $500,000, and staff is working on to develop options to move this important project forward. A recommendation was presented at our August meeting, just to kind of bring you up to speed, is that we did ask them to take out the generators that are on site out of their initial installation project and see if that would be enough cost-saving measures. And then there are some other factors that they alluded to, that it's more than just the cost of generators in that project. The way we viewed it is that if the cost of generators were taking out of it and doing it in a later project, then it would reduce it enough, but there's some costs that still have to be factored in. So we're looking at other avenues and options to be able to reduce that, to move that project forward. And again, we will bring that to you at our August meeting. Upcoming events, the planning board meets at 4 p.m. on August the 4th. On August the 9th, Music in the Main Street Nature Park at 6 p.m. And again, I would just like to reiterate that folks, that if you aren't taking advantage of that, you're missing out on a great opportunity. There's been some great music. We've had some weather mishaps, but we've been able to get them most in. This next round, we are looking at bringing in some food truck vendors and some other things for the kids to do, because I've noticed that it's turning into a great family event. We're having more children participate in that, so trying to set up some things for the kids to occupy their time as well while that's taking place. So again, I do encourage the public to attend that. It's a great opportunity. August 11th, there will be a Board of Adjustment meeting at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. And on August the 19th, Town Council Workshop. And on August the 25th, Town Council regular meeting, again at 6 p.m. taking place here in our council chambers. And that concludes your manager's report. Any questions or comments?
First of all, when the manager refers to the WBA, that's the Weaverville Business Association. Are there any questions or comments regarding the manager's report? Good deal. Next up is our general public comments, and as I call your name, if you would come to the podium, state your name and your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak on any subject you'd like. We welcome and appreciate your opinions and your comments. The manager does have, though, a very annoying sounding alarm that you just heard that will go off after 3 minutes. At that point, if you're still going, I'm going to give you the. Good. Also, we have several people who want to speak tonight, and that's great. You do have the option when I call on you, if someone else has already said what you wanted to say, you can say, I agree with whatever so-and-so said. We also welcome to hear from you as well. Saying all that, first up is Mary Hilton.
I want to thank the council for this opportunity to speak. I am Mary Hilton. I live at 18 Bankstown Road, and I still love Weaverville. And I love a Weaverville that puts a huge emphasis on wellness and healthy living. So much so, they built a community center that sponsors multiple programs to promote healthy living, and as of last year, opened pickleball courts, a basketball court, and a cornhole game area. What a commitment the town has made. I'm here to speak about a very small change, really a redistribution of the hours we have right now to use these courts. The staff made a compromise proposal to move what is now a 6 p.m. closing to a 5 p.m. closing during the 4 winter months, November to February, to keep the courts open 2 hours later in the months of March and October. When the schedule we now have was created, it did not take into account the time changes. So paddlers were showing up to play with plenty of sunshine and beautiful weather left in the day to find the gates locked. What? Well, when the schedule, so who wants to play later in the day, you might ask? People who work, and 60% of our residents are employed here in Weaverville. Teenagers out of school and families, they need these hours to play. By the way, the largest group of pickleball players today is the 18 to 35 age group. And you probably thought only seniors play pickleball. It is important to remember that the amount of time and the use of the courts is mainly in the morning and late in the day, which is only about half the time they are open. In the winter months, that time is probably even more than half. What does this mean for council members? It means that 60% of our residents who work, students out of school, families and beginners can make the courts you built be used more, enjoyed more, and make for a healthier and certainly happier community. And that happy pickleball community is here tonight to show support and appreciation, I can't say that enough, to the council for providing such a wonderful amenity for our community. The last thing I can say is come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think, as you just heard in the manager's report, deciding issues about operations, like what time things, amenities close and open, is really a management decision. So we are giving our manager, Scott Harrison, that full authority to take care of that. And I know that he has been meeting with various people who have different views on this this week. So he is in the process of determining what is the appropriate action to take. Next is Darla Letourneau.
Good evening. I'm Darla Letourneau with 16 Lakeshore Drive. I wanted to thank the council for its decision in 2020 to invest in a new outdoor recreation complex as part of the community center project at Lake Louise. This town-owned land has always been designated for recreation and was the location of the town's swimming pool for several decades. Town residents place a high value on parks, recreation, and open space. It's all part of what's essential for the community's quality of life, and this facility is being enjoyed by residents of all ages. The town staff has done a terrific job in managing this facility and has gone above and beyond what other communities have done in being sensitive to its residential neighborhood location. In advance of this meeting, I shared with council a table that compares our practices to those in Buncombe County. The finding is we are the most restrictive, conservative practices in the county. The Weaverville Recreation Complex is one of only 6 public parks in all of Buncombe County with outdoor pickleball courts. The other 5 are in the city of Asheville, and all of them are located in residential neighborhoods with houses in similar proximity to the courts. We're the only location that has installed noise barriers on the courts, costing at least $36,000. These barriers absorb or deflect sound, minimizing its impact on nearby residences. Ours is the only facility that is locked outside of operational hours, which is a significant administrative burden that no other municipality does. We're the only location that adopted ordinances related to the neighborhood, such as no amplified music, no dogs, no unaccompanied children. We're the only one of 2 facilities in the county with no lights on the courts. We're the only one that has specific hours for different times of the year. Asheville parks are open year-round from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., with the racket courts scheduled from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. year-round. And we have the fewest hours of operation, 22%. Given all the measures our town staff has taken, we are the most neighbor-friendly pickleball courts in the area. The purpose of parks and outdoor recreation facilities is to allow its citizens to recreate and enjoy nature during daylight hours throughout the year. The staff's compromise proposal on the hours, as Mary said, does not add to the overall number of operating hours of the courts. It simply redistributes the hours the complex is open. I want to thank the council and town staff for providing this wonderful amenity. The $500,000 that you spent from taxpayers' money was really a good investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie Wilkers.
My name is Charlie. I live at 25 North Lake Drive, Weaverville. I only have one living grandparent that I get to have a relationship with. And at the pickleball courts, there are literally dozens of people who are my elders that I get to learn with, joke with, and play with multiple times a week. I've played soccer and been in my local theater, but my mom can't do those things with me. She watches my soccer games and volunteers backstage at the plays. But on the pickleball courts, me and her are equals. I mean, except for when I beat her, which is more often lately. I've even gotten to play pickleball multiple times with teachers from past grades at school and my other friends' parents. My relationships with these people are important to me, and pickleball makes it possible. There are very few community recreational opportunities where children, parents, and grandparents can all have an even playing field. These pickleball courts provide so many different opportunities in our community to bring people together, help people be healthier, and even get children off their screens.
Thank you, sir. Jason Feliciano?
Jason Feliciano, 210 Aiken Road. I'm an IT professional, a father of two, and a proud resident of Weaverville. My journey with pickleball began in March of 2023, when my father, Julio Feliciano, first put a paddle in my hand. He took me to the courts at his 55 and over community in Florida. That day, the courts were empty, and we had the place to ourselves. He patiently walked me through the basics, and then, to my surprise, completely schooled me. When we laughed the entire time, and by the end of the day, I was hooked. Before I left, he handed me his paddle. Here, he said, you'll need this. When I returned home, I bought a couple of inexpensive paddles and taught my kids, then 4 and 6, how to hit the ball in a nearby parking lot. We didn't have a net, we imagined one. We'd hit the ball back and forth for a while before drifting off to the playground. But the excitement was real. They begged me to play every day. With my dad far away, I was learning on my own, and not yet aware of just how big pickleball had become. Eventually, I discovered a group of players at Murphy Oakley Park. When I arrived, I only saw tennis courts full of tennis players and felt too embarrassed to get out of my car. Then I spotted someone with a pickleball paddle sticking out of their bag. More people arrived, tennis players left, pickleball nets went up, and I joined in. Confused by all the lines and the rules, I ignored the score, and I was definitely hooked. I still remember watching Darla deliver a perfect serve and realizing how technical and addictive this game could be. By the end of 2023, I had moved into 210 Aiken Road, just minutes from Lake Louise. Not long after that, did I hear a rumor. Dedicated pickleball courts were coming to Weaverville Community Center, and when they opened, I was the first to arrive. I was practicing my serves alone until I found a group on the Team Reach app and found my new community. Now a day hardly goes by where I'm either playing or planning for the next game. Pickleball changed my life. I've lost 60 pounds. My back pain that once limited me is gone. My depression has nearly disappeared. I no longer rely on substances. I've built lasting friendships. I even met my supportive partner on the courts. Most importantly, I play in the honor of my dad, who passed away on the very courts where he first taught me. He's with me every game, reminding me to have fun, welcome new players, and celebrate everyone's good shots, even the opponents. For me, and many of us, pickleball is more of a game. It's a lifeline, a community, and a daily reminder of connection, joy, and healing. Please leave the courts open a little longer.
Inger Stallman?
Thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank the town council and leadership for their hard work serving our town on a daily basis and through the years, and to helping to guide it into the future, in which town growth will be both an opportunity and a challenge for us all. I speak tonight to address the town council and leadership about a topic dear to my heart, pickleball. I am Inger Stallman Jorgensen, and I have been a homeowner on 126 North Main Street since 1981, 44 years, and I currently serve on the tree board. I'm fortunate to call Weaverville home and want to see it grow in ways that make it even better. I have learned that the idea of relocation of the courts has been raised due to noise concerns in the neighborhood, and want to advocate for the court complex to remain where it is. I am concerned that some neighbors have been affected by noise in a negative way. I would like to see the problem studied so that a sensible plan can be made to address their noise concerns. Our town government showed great wisdom in planning and executing the building of the courts and have been very responsive to concerns by providing mitigation measures to lessen the impact of court noise. I'm asking town council to stand by the decision they made to build the courts where they are. Their location adds to the nearby and varied amenities of walking trails, fishing pier, exercise equipment, picnic shelters, playground, and the wonderful community center. These amenities add up to more than the sum of their parts. Time and money have been spent on the courts. Relocation seems to be an unpractical and unwise idea. Our tax dollars are precious, and our community is still in recovery from damages from Helene. In regard to court noise complaints, I've heard word that about 28 people have signed a letter to the town about the problem. I have not heard of objective data having been collected or of a professional survey of neighbors having been done to identify locations particularly affected by the noise. Without that, any future mitigation measures could be costly, yet ineffective where it really matters. To help our neighbors get relief, experts including an acoustical engineer should be consulted to determine actual noise levels in the affected neighborhood. A professional survey of the neighborhood residents should also be done. With these data, a sensible plan can be laid for any further mitigation required with consultation from the experts. Their assistance will incur costs, but much less than the cost of relocating the court and much less draining on time and other resources from our town. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Laird Ruth.
Good evening. My name is Laird Ruth, and I have a house at 28 Wildwood Park. I also have a house at 100 Snowdrift Lane in Mars Hill. We rent the one in Wildwood Park. I want to congratulate you all for basically making the city of Weaverville and the community at large, basically you have made such a smart investment in the health and community and the local economy of Weaverville. I moved here in 2021. I am a health scientist at CDC and decided instead of working at Division of Nutrition, Physical Activity, and Obesity, I can move here and work on emergencies like COVID and hurricanes. So I moved here and I found it to be a great place. I played soccer at Carpen Field, and I played racquetball in the YMCA in Asheville, and I found it to be incredible. But Hurricane Helene hit, I couldn't play soccer anymore, and it probably saved my life because I had to have a heart surgery, and I didn't find that out until January. So 3 months ago, I had an operation, and now I'm able to have physical activity again. I can play pickleball. I can't play soccer, unfortunately, because of blood thinners, but I can play pickleball. It's excellent. I'm a federal worker, and I have to work from 9 to 5:30, so I really need to be able to work before 9 and after 5:30. So just in terms of the health benefits, I want to just highlight that pickleball, it improves health and lung health. Just 3 sessions per week can increase cardiovascular fitness by 12%. It can improve weight management. It burns 350 to 500 calories per hour, supporting obesity prevention and preventing chronic disease, such as type 2 diabetes, strokes, and depression. It also boosts mental well-being, combines exercise and social engagement, and has been shown to reduce cognitive decline and combat isolation. It improves mobility and balance. The economic benefits for a town of 5,000 like Weaverville, it increases local spending, like me coming here and going to Wellbred or other places when I'm in town. It increases tourism. It increases property values by 2 to 5% in houses that are in the surrounding areas to pickleball courts. Healthcare savings, even 100 residents can be more active and can save thousands per year in healthcare costs. And it also provides more job opportunities. I provided all these in a piece of paper or in a small document for y'all, but I think what we'll ideally need to do is actually create a lot more pickleball courts in the future And I'm happy to work with you to make grants to create more indoor pickleball courts.
Thank you.
So we can work more after hours.
Catherine Undertown? Underdown, sorry.
Good evening, Mayor, councilors, and staff. My name is Catherine Underdown, and I live at 61 Benedict Lane in Weaverville. This fall will mark my 3rd year as resident of Weaverville, and I'd like to speak tonight on the topic of community and give you some attaboys. I've spent most of my life in small towns, and I appreciate the effort it takes from municipal government, staff, and volunteers to make small towns welcoming and great places to live. I applaud the work that you and your predecessors have done and are still doing. My move to Weaverville was impulsive, but every step of the way I received positive affirmation that it's been the right move. And that's in no small part to how Weaverville presents itself through all of you. Weaverville offers many opportunities for new residents to find community, and just one of many communities I have found is the pickleball community. The fact that it exists and thrives right here is important to me and many others. While I was not here during the planning phases for the development of the community center and the recreation area that includes Weaverville's pickleball courts, I do trust that the leaders did their due diligence in deciding the location that best suits the town's budget and overall parks plan. I have immense appreciation for the open dialogue that staff has been willing to have in considering all perspectives regarding the appropriate hours of operation for the pickleball courts. I have not retired to Weaverville. I am lucky enough to work remotely from my home, but that does not mean that I do not punch a clock. Being able to play in the evening after work and interact with others of all ages and demographics is good for my overall physical and mental well-being. I don't really need to encourage you, since you stated already, that you as leaders proudly support the sizable investment that has been thoughtfully made with the purpose of fostering community. I believe staff has put forth a reasonable recommendation and hope that you trust your manager's ability to guide Weaverville in a positive direction. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Mary Fox?
Hello, I am Mary Fox. I live at 40 Lakeshore Drive and have resided there for 25 years. First of all, I'd like to say that our neighborhood is not against the pickleball club and anybody who plays pickleball. It's the location of the courts that we have a problem with. Tonight, I'd like to read the Weaverville Noise Ordinance, Section 9-402, titled Unlawful Noise. Except as otherwise provided in this article, it shall be unlawful to admit or to cause or permit any unreasonably loud, annoying, frightening, loud and disturbing, or unnecessary noise. Specifically, it shall be unlawful to admit such noise of such character, intensity, or duration as to be detrimental to the life or health of reasonable persons of ordinary sensibilities. Factors to consider in determining whether a violation exists include, but are not limited to, the volume of the noise, the intensity of the noise, whether the nature of the noise is unusual or usual, whether the origin of the noise is natural or unnatural, the volume and intensity of the background noise, if any, the proximity of the noise to residential sleeping facilities, the nature and zoning of the area within which the noise emanates, the density of the inhabitation of the area within which the noise emanates, the time of the day or night that the noise occurs, the duration of the noise, and whether the noise is recurrent, intermittent, or constant. Additionally, here's what the zoning for R1 residential district says. The primary residential district is established in which the principal use of the land is for single-family residential purposes, and the regulations for the R1 district are established in order to protect the existing residential development and promote a suitable environment for residential life in a low-density community. Our neighborhood believes the pickleball courts violate everything you just heard. We think it's unconscionable to think that the town council would even consider extending the hours and continue to infringe on our liberties to enjoy our own outdoor and indoor living spaces. Should we start calling the police every time a violation of these codes occur? In essence, we will be calling the town on the town. So my question for the town council is that what you want us to do?
Thank you very much. Angel Erdman?
Hi, I hope I get through this. I'm a little recovering here. My name is Angel Erdman, and I live on Metcalf Drive, close to the community center. I'm here tonight as a longtime resident who values peace, courtesy, and being a good neighbor. I want you to know that I have a 17-year-old son that plays a huge set of drums in our basement. He has played since he was 5 years old. Out of consideration for my elderly neighbors, we have always enforced, and my son has always followed, a schedule of practice time that is respectful for possible quiet hours. In the morning, when you go outside in the heat of the day, you know that it's going to be really hot, so you want to go out and enjoy yourself in the morning in your backyard. Or you want to go out and enjoy your evening after work in your backyard. We have neighbors that have illnesses, that have cancer, and these types of things. We have 2 dogs, but they are trained to stop barking on command. If they do not stop, we bring them back into the house. I am sure that if we had a new neighbor, they would not even realize for some time that we even have dogs. We are very intentional about maintaining a peaceful neighborhood out of respect for our neighbors. Since the new pickleball courts and the massive tree removal, and considering the topography of the land, the sound travels directly to our homes, straight over any barriers that have been created by the fences, into our yards. Even though the ball is a major problem, it is also the loud voices, the yelling, and sometimes the foul and distasteful language. The voices they carry right over everything. So even inside our house with windows shut and the AC is on, our dogs hear the shouting and the yelling from the courts. And as they do, they react to noises that they do not understand by barking. What this means is that even if we can't hear the noises with the windows shut, they can, and then they create noises in our home. This barking leads to stress and real tension in our home, and not because of anything that we've done, but because of the noise outside the walls of our home. And when we go outside, it leads to a complete annoyance. We can't enjoy our yard. We can't open our windows. My granddaughter can't come and take a nap in my house. And my kids, whom I'm homeschool, can't focus. This is not just about pickleball. It's about respect. I've taught my children to respect their neighbors, to keep the noise down, to be mindful. And I feel that should go both ways. This noise is invading our homes, and that's not just inconvenient. It's disruptive, and it's not something we or our dogs are going to get used to. I've heard that you are considering extending the hours to 10 p.m., and I truly do not consider that fair to residents. We don't hate pickleball. My kids want to go play pickleball, you know? We just hate the proximity. Thank you.
Michael Stewart?
Dr. Michael Stewart, 12 Metcalf Drive. I'm a resident of 39 years, have a lot of experience with Weaverville, generally approved, but this town council and the previous one created a public nuisance within the town. Nuisance is described, defined as an activity, condition, or situation that significantly affects, interferes with, or otherwise negatively impacts another's ability to use or enjoy their own property. Now, you've all received multiple emails from me about the health conditions generated by the impulsive pot, and we're getting thousands of those per day. And my neighbors that I should be able to enjoy and agree with, instead of having a contentious situation with, they come and play, have a good time, and that's great. But then they leave and another group comes. And we're listening to this all day, except during the heat of the day. Now, noise is a well-known and serious public health issue. And I've sent you guys information from World Health Organization, from medical institutions that have invested in this. And the issue and abuse of residents who live within the town zone pollution must end. Your moral responsibility is to first do no harm rather than bow to the majority. Now, my objection is not with pickleball in any form or fashion. My objection is the way the court was constructed. Massive errors were made in the design. There was apparently no environmental study, no acoustic sound study, and the worst mistake of all that can be made with pickleball is it's snubbed up into a corner against two residential communities. This is an absolute no-no. And so I feel the Weaverville town policymakers have a moral, legal, and ethical obligation to adopt policies that protect the neighborhoods and prioritize the health, safety, and property values of those residents impacted by the presence of the court. Heard from one of my neighbors that pickleball increases the value of the property. It does not within the sound zone, within 1,000 yards of the houses. It decreases it by 10 to 20%. The courts that are adjacent are 15 minutes away. Are you going to choose between 15 minutes of their driving, I heard that, 15 minutes of their driving or our health and safety? I support the idea here in public forum that those courts be shut down, the fences removed until a suitable site that we can all agree on will be found.
Thank you, sir. Marcy Brigman?
No booing.
No. Hey, let's be respectful, please. Let's everyone be respectful. Everyone's opinion is valuable.
Hello, I'm Marcy Brigman, 218 Old Dry Ridge Circle, and been a Weaverville resident for over 20 years. I agree with several others here that have already spoken to modify the hours, so I'll try to keep this short. You guys have heard me speak before regarding this, and I'm here again to raise the concerns for the courts, both pickleball and basketball. I'm here to urge the council to adopt dawn to dusk hours. The current rules are restrictive and out of step with what a community center should be. They continue to create unnecessary problems for our residents, our neighbors, and our police force. Other parks in Weaverville and Buncombe County without lights use dawn to dusk hours for a reason. It works. It's simple, consistent, and fair. It naturally prevents play after dark since there are no lights, and it eliminates the need for police to lock courts or handle those complaints. A proposed adjustment to modify hours is just a Band-Aid. It won't solve the root problem, and the same issues of police strain, confusion, and neighborhood frustration will keep coming back. These courts are funded by our tax dollars and exist to serve everyone, not to appease a few complaints. By definition, a community center should be open, welcoming, and accessible. By adopting dawn to dusk hours, we bring our community center into alignment with other recreation facilities, eliminating recurring complaints, easing the burden on law enforcement, and fulfilling our responsibility to give residents the access they rightfully deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Angela Wilkers.
Hi, my name is Angela Wilkers, and I live at 25 North Lake Drive. You guys were able to hear my son speak a little bit earlier, and I just want to share a little more of my story and his. I agree with several of the people who have already spoken tonight, and we have brought some factual information that has been researched very well by Darla and Mary and some of the others. And I am a business owner and a mental health professional. I've raised my children in this town for 15 years. What you don't know from looking at my amazing child is that him and his younger brother have a really debilitating immune disorder, a primary immune deficiency, and a neuroimmune disorder that have basically made their lives extremely difficult and our whole family's life very difficult. They, for the last few years, have been getting a medical treatment every 21 days that literally saves their lives. They have to spend hours assigned or attached to an IV, 8 hours, 2 days, every 21 days. My son, prior to that, wasn't even able to attend school for more than 2 hours, 3 days a week, and he was not able to attend PE or lunch or recess for years. Now that he is functioning with this medical treatment, he's on the soccer team, he's in the school plays, he gets on AB honor roll almost every semester. During the time that he was at his most sick, I was unable to leave my home most of the time. I was working for my family. My husband was unable to work to stay home and take him to doctor's appointments. And during that time, my mental health and my physical health took a big toll. In the last 5 years, I've had to have 5 surgeries on my body and was not able to work out or exercise or even walk through a grocery store without pain. I tried to start playing tennis again, and every time I had a new injury because my body just wasn't able to handle the stress of the life that I was living. After a couple years ago, the surgeries that I have a spinal cord stimulator that helps me to not be in pain every single day. I began playing pickleball last year. I've lost 75 pounds. My mental health is tremendously better. I play with my son almost daily, every day that I can. I've met all of these people here, and they are all my friends in my community. And I rely on those courts to be open after normal 9 to 5 business hours so that I can spend time with people my age who are healthy and capable of supporting me when I spent years basically in my house and supporting other people's mental health. Thank you very much for considering keeping the courts open during daylight hours, especially during the times when the weather is the nicest, because as you said at the beginning of this meeting, it is very hot outside. And playing pickleball at noon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 4 o'clock in the afternoon is just unbearable. And those of us who work need to be able to be there in the evenings. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think it should be obvious that, that this issue brings up a lot of passion and strong feelings amongst everyone on both sides. Both sides' perspectives are legitimate and their concerns are real. And this is not an easy decision to make, but the staff is busy evaluating and getting informed and taking seriously everyone's opinion about this matter and will make appropriate decisions. Thank you very much for your comments this evening.
And Mr. Mayor, just for the record, I know that the clerk has handed to all board members copies of public comments submitted by email. And just for the record, there were 7 submitted in favor of extended hours and 1 opposed.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Okay. I just want to say that when the pickleball courts were agreed upon, were discussed, were built here in the town, I don't think any of us on council or in the town knew what the noise and the disruption would be like. You know, the pickleball fad came upon us pretty quickly. When we were talking pickleball courts, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what pickleball was. So this came about a bit quickly, and maybe we've made some errors, and maybe we need to do some things that will take all of our citizens into consideration. Nobody is against pickleball. It's the location of where the courts are. I know you all enjoy playing, and I love that you enjoy playing. I mean, you are friends of mine, you are neighbors of mine. I get it, you like that.
I get that. And the people that live in these homes who've been there for 30, 40, 50 years, their peace has been totally disrupted. They deserve to have the peace and quiet that they moved into, that they have enjoyed for these years. They can't sell their houses. Nobody's going to buy a house right behind the pickleball court with this noise. So the town, I believe, needs to take into consideration all of the citizens and come up with some kind of a solution that's going to work for everybody and not just the players.
Thank you. I'm sure that Scotty is doing exactly that.
Can I also say something?
Yes. Okay, okay, guys. A councilman wants to say something. Councilman Cordell?
I would also like to say something. When Scotty told you that the pool was actually built in 1959, which was before I was born, but I do remember going there. And we screamed and played loud music, and we had a wonderful time. And so it has always been a parks and recreation area. And I do realize that a lot of people have moved in since the pool was torn down. And so when I was growing up, a pool was the most important thing. And everybody wanted to skate and go to the pool. But now, when we did this about 4 or 5 years ago, when we asked for people to tell us what they wanted a pickleball court. So, you know, I understand both sides, but I do need to say this. Every time that something happens in Weaverville, we hear, we don't want to be Asheville. So I agree, we do not want to be Asheville. So I'm not sure that Dawn to Dusk works for us because we're Weaverville, we're not Asheville. And Dawn to Dusk may work because it's easy, and it may work because you don't have the police having to close it down. But we are a small community, and we are a family. So I think the hours of shutting it down at a certain time so that people can have peace and quiet is probably a Weaverville thing. And yes, Weaverville's a little more conservative than Asheville, and so we're trying to be community to everybody. And I think that the staff has done a marvelous job of adding trees and buffers and this and that to try to accommodate the people on Metcalf or Lakeshore. And all I can say is we're doing the best we can. Everybody just keep trying to get along.
Always a good thing to do. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Moving on to discussion and action items. Item A is project bids, and Assistant Public Works Director Cutzel.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to present on this item. But before, and since it's talking about repaving, one of the things I would like to reiterate is that Main Street that just got repaved is a DOT street, Department of Transportation, and it's not a town of Weaverville street. I had fielded several calls during the week. And prior to that, I wanted to know what I was going to do about fixing the pothole that obviously I saw every day because it was right in front of Town Hall. So I had to reiterate then that it was a state-maintained road and not something that the town could do. Unfortunately, the town was not notified prior to the contractor showing up on Thursday till we saw some equipment setting out front. So we did ask for the DOT engineer to come meet with us. We met that afternoon to try to get an idea of how long they thought they would be there. So we pushed some stuff out on social media for Thursday to go into Friday that they would be working. So again, while we're talking about street paving and bidding, I just want to reiterate that unfortunately we were not aware of that project taking place. There's DOT, they don't have to notify us, it's their street. But we did talk about how to move forward in that communications aspect so that we can assist them with pushing some information out.
Thank you very much, and even though that was an inconvenience for a couple of days, I think I will appreciate the new street for years to come, so.
Yes. Mayor, Council, I'm Eric Cutshaw, Assistant Public Works Director. As you know, Dale Pennell was able to get our paving bid out before he retired. We only received 2 bids, so we couldn't act on that at that time, so we redid it for July 8th. The same 2 bidders bid. C&T Paving being the lowest of the 2, well within our budget for the year to pave, and I think there's like 8 streets to be paved this year. And I yes, we would ask that you consider awarding this bid to C&T Pavement. We've worked with them in the past. They do really good work.
Thank you.
Where are
Any
they out
question?
of? Are they North Carolina, South Carolina? Where are they from?
North Carolina.
Okay.
It was them and French Broad Pavings put the bids out.
Are there any questions for Mr. Kutzwell?
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Can
to
we-
approve the bid.
Let's talk before we move.
And we are, yeah, go ahead.
I drove all the streets, and I don't know if everybody did or not. And yes, some of them definitely do need to be paved, and I'm looking forward to that. But one concern that I had is, you know, with Weaverville being Tree City,
Yes.
there is a big tree in a circle at the top of Oak Street, and I would not want us to do anything to kill that tree.
Right.
So it appears that the roots are popping up through the pavement, and so how can we not damage that tree?
We just have to be as careful as we can, and it possibly could be damaged in the milling process.
That's what I'm thinking. It
Yeah.
will be damaged, and if you damage the roots of the tree, then a lot of people won't be happy on that street. I'm not sure about the one on Willamette, whether or not the tree would be
It's
damaged. It wouldn't be as big, no.
Oak Street would be the one with the problem.
Oak Street.
Yeah. Any more
Keep the Oak
questions?
Street people from coming and yell at us there.
They can come yell at me.
Is there a way to get an arborist involved on that one, on Oak Street?
We could
Yeah,
check.
and then we can, and Tamara can correct me if I'm wrong, but that, we do have one arborist that we're looking at for the grant project, so they will be able to look at that tree as well as all of our trees.
I mean, it might be that you just barely go around that tree instead of grinding down.
Yeah. Maybe just take up the asphalt and doing like an overlay and not mill around the tree. That would be an option. Any more questions?
So I think you hear that the tree on Oak Street is important to folks, so take care of that tree, Eric. And just for everybody else's information, most of the roads in town are in fact owned by the town and we're responsible for them, but the main thoroughfares such as Merriman and Main Street are actually owned by the state. And so they pay for the repaving of those, but they also do it without informing us. But so it's well, you know that most streets are ours, but not all streets. Any other questions or comments regarding the paving project bid? Is there a motion to accept the bid?
I move that we award the bid to C&C Paving and authorize the town staff to execute the paving contract based on the total bid amount of $638,941.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. As you can also see, folks, paving streets is very expensive.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, before you move on to the next item, I did talk with Assistant Public Works Director tonight and asked him that if this got approved, that we could reach out to C&T and have them, once the bid was approved, to start with Park Street so that we can try to get that done before school goes in session.
Excellent.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right.
Item B is the stormwater and streets update regarding Maple Trace subdivision. Assistant Manager Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. We pulled this item from your agenda last month, waiting to get some information on the last bit of the quote for the last bit of stormwater repair work that was identified as part of this project. We now have that, and so what I wanted to do tonight is just to circle everything, to sort of tell you what has been done, what hasn't been done, and try to provide a path forward. So at your May meeting, you adopted a resolution that says go get your the stormwater lines flushed, some catch basins regrouted, a few lines repaired. All of that has been done. The resolution also said that the HOA was responsible for
for repairing anything that was identified through the line flushing process. And so that line flushing process identified 3 things that needed to be done. Two repairs, and then there's a stormwater pond that is essentially full of sediment at this point. And so the stormwater pipe doesn't have any place to drain into. That stormwater pond is actually on HOA property. It's subject to a Buncombe County issued stormwater permit. So they're responsible for that maintenance. That's not something that the town would ever take title to. That's on their private property. It's not within the street right of way. The 2 stormwater pipe repairs totaled $19,405, and this is based on a TP Howard quote that's in your packet. The stormwater pond clean out is $12,850. So I do believe that's an HOA responsibility under that permit. But the reason we're talking about it tonight is that stormwater pond does impact the functionality of the stormwater system. Meaning you've got your stormwater system that we're concerned about because you've got inlets that are within the street right of way. The water going into those inlets has to have some place to drain, and this happens to be in an area where on Waterleaf Drive that is due to be repaved based on the action that you just took just moments ago. And so what we don't want to do is repave a street without a corrected stormwater system, because then you're jeopardizing the pavement that you've just done. And so that's why it's the HOA responsibility, but we've kind of tied it to this because otherwise you're jeopardizing your system. So the good news is that Maple Trace did put in $134,000 that we're holding based on a paving estimate. The portion of the paving for Waterleaf Drive actually came in at $112,200. So there's $21,800 that can be shifted from the paving to the stormwater work. So at this point, there's a total of $16,455. That is the total amount that I believe that Maple Trace needs to pay for that work. And as you did considered at your last meeting on this, we're willing to let them pay that in their next year's budget. They've got assessments that I believe are made in January, and so this would allow them to delay payment of that with that 5% carrying cost for that to get them to their new budget year. They were already they already needed to pay $6,000 towards the line flushing, but this just adds a little bit to it. And I know the money on this is a little bit confusing, so I did spreadsheet.
So Jennifer, so the stormwater pond is owned by the HOA, and the HOA has the county permit for it. So they're responsible for that. And if they don't take care of it, then they're subject to fines from the county. Am I correct?
I think that's right. I'm not a county stormwater expert, but certainly there's an operations and maintenance plan that is on record, that they are obligated to maintain those stormwater control measures, this stormwater pond being one of them. They're obligated to make sure that those are functioning. There is the other thing that was outstanding is the right-of-way agreement. You're talking about taking these streets in, and so they did have an obligation to bring forward to you a signed right-of-way agreement. They've done that. That's in your packet. That just because they've signed it doesn't mean that the town streets these are now town streets. It does take action on behalf of town council
to accept that dedication. So in your packet, you do have a proposed amended resolution that kind of walks us through all of this. One thing that I have not heard, that I think this resolution outlines what the responsibilities are, how we're going to spend that $134,000. What additional dollars do we need to collect from the HOA? Is the HOA willing to pay that additional money? And then it tells us go record this right-of-way deed, go pay, go do.
I guess my concern here, Jennifer, is the pond really is not a town's issue. So I say, let the HOA take care of their responsibility, which is their pond. And if we take that cost out of this equation, then what's left is the other repairs cost $19,000, I believe you said, and that would mean that the savings they've had from the paving project essentially will cover that, or most all of that. Is that correct?
Except for $3,605.
Yeah, so they owe $3,605 on everything except for that stormwater pond.
Right.
The stormwater pond is $12,850. And my caution to you is that you don't want you've just told Public Works Department to go pave this road. And if they don't clean the stormwater pond out in 2 months, the road could start getting damaged. And so the order of things.
So what we could do also is say, we're not going to pave until the pond is cleaned up, so that we know that our investment is protected.
Right.
That's true.
That's
Right.
what we need
And,
to do.
and the thing is, the pond really is not town's issue. That's
It's
the
not.
HOA's issue. So, and we'll do the paving, after they fix their pond. That's their
Right.
responsibility. In fact, that's a legal responsibility they have, correct?
Right, yes.
So the only difference really is $3,000.
$3,605.
And
It's right
change.
here at the top.
So what questions or comments do council members have about this project?
I think it's time to put it to bed.
No kidding. I think we're all tired, ready for that. How would you suggest we go about doing that?
I make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that the remaining debt incurred by Mabel Trace for testing and repairs be forgiven in full of the town of Weaverville, North Carolina. This action supports equitable treatment for residents and reinforces their commitment to maintaining a consistent and unified infrastructure strategy across the community.
Mr. Frew, can we do that?
My advice would be no. The problem is constitution of the emoluments clause and giving the benefit to the private entity, HOA.
But if we remove the pond from his motion, we amend his motion to say that this does not include the pond, and the pond is their responsibility, and we'll do our paving once the pond is fixed, then your issue is the one that
Then my concern would be just looking at how this process is played out, that the board, in my view, should refrain from accepting the streets until that storm pond is cleaned out. And then the board and the town will be ready to proceed and accept the deed, accept the roads, and report.
Is there still a remaining issue of the 3605?
I'm sort of thinking, if the town, the resolution says that if the HOA does not comply with its obligations under this resolution and constraints or the contingencies the town has put in place, and the town goes ahead and records the deed, I don't know that there's a simple mechanism to undo and put those streets back into private ownership without legislative action.
So we should just wait.
That would be my recommendation.
Well, and so one of the things that Mr. King had told us is that everybody in the Maple Trace, that it really wasn't about getting the roads paved, they just wanted to be part of Weaverville. And so in order to get the roads paved, the storm water needs to be, the pond needs to be cleaned out, which has nothing to do with us. I mean, I remember 4 or 5 years ago when we first got trained on town council stuff, one of the things that Selena had said is we can't pave a private road because it's not our road. We can't use taxpayer money or government money to do something private. So this is still their private property and their private pond. So I think we're just gonna have to back off until they get that fixed. And then we'll be ready to stamp it.
I think we need to go through the process as it's outlined. And make sure it's right.
So so is there an amendment to Councilman Lawrence's motion, or is there a secondary motion like someone would like to make instead?
Well, an amendment would be that you get and somebody to requote this, take off the pond, and then it would only leave that $6,000 and something dollars. We would still use the $21,000 subsidy from the paving difference, and that it's tabled until they come back to us with proof that the pond is fixed, and then as soon as that happens, we just move forward, and we've all agreed on it anyway.
I would hesitate to do a verbal amendment to this resolution.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that sounded pretty complicated.
Yeah, I agree. If y'all could come up with a little bit of a consensus, and I think maybe perhaps you're close, we can maybe take the next few weeks and work with the HOA, and Mr. Frew and I can come back with it.
Can we all agree that the pond's not a town issue, it's not our business?
Yes.
Yes. HOA, you gotta take care of you, that's your property, take care of that. So let's
Yes.
just remove that from the equation altogether.
Yes, ma'am.
And can we all agree that doing paving, which we're committed to doing, but doing it before that pond issue is corrected, would damage the investment we're making in paving?
True.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else we want to add to those assumptions before we tell the staff to go work with the HOA to figure out the details? Those are the big issues, right? Got that one, Scotty?
Well, I think we're still all in favor of moving forward. When
Oh, yes, absolutely.
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 Is there an actual,
Resolution.
is there an actual schedule for when the paving is supposed to take place?
we just
You just approved it, we've got to get contracts in place, you've got to get the insurance and the bonds in place, and then they'll be able to say go. I don't know whether they gave any,
And Eric, could we not assume that there would be at least springtime anyway before a paving project would happen? Well, I say that while they're paving out front. so.
No, I think the intention was to get it paved this summer, early fall.
Well, we just push it out. I mean, if it happens to happen before the pond is done, then
Right.
Eric tells them, hold this one. Paving companies work, 12 months a year too.
Everyone comfortable? Jennifer, Scotty, work it out. Thank you. Next item up is the Hurricane Recovery Plan Draft Project List, and Jennifer Jackson, this is yours.
Thank you again. I've had the pleasure of working with some folks from FEMA and also with the county on developing what we're calling a consolidated Helene recovery plan. And Weaverville, as I've mentioned to you before, Weaverville will have essentially a chapter or a section in this plan that really talks about some projects that the town would like to pursue that are long-term recovery related. And so I previously provided you the results of the Envision Buncombe, which was the survey, the big county survey that went out. We had pretty good participation. I don't think we saw anything on there that was unexpected. And so we are in the process of developing our section and then the plan as a whole. And what I wanted just to report to you is that we're getting close to being able to have something to present. We expect that may be out maybe as early as your next meeting. And that section's going to have, it's kind of broken up into strengthening emergency preparedness, infrastructure resiliency, community resiliency, economic resiliency, and environmental resiliency. And so those are sort of the 5 buckets of projects that you're going to see. Emergency preparedness are things like developing a written emergency operations plan. What do we need to have in place in an emergency, and training associated with that. Public communications and notifications, we heard a little bit of that earlier in the meeting. Water system interconnections. We've had this council, I think, was one of the activists in that conversation, and that is now back in conversation, where we kind of hit a wall on that a few years ago. Things like that. Infrastructure resiliency. Those are things like how can we make our water system more resilient? Is it generators? Is it what does that look like? You actually have a generator for one of your tanks in the budget for this year, so things like that. Also taking a look at streets and sidewalks and seeing where areas are that might be vulnerable to flooding or landslides that we could take a look at and see if we could improve. Community resiliency is things like hardening the public Wi-Fi against storms or power outages. Developing good systems of community engagement. We've heard a lot about recreational areas and open space, and so one of the things that we've seen in multiple surveys is increasing open space and recreational opportunities, pocket parks, things like that really do become a lifeline in times of emergency, just as a way to release some stress. Local business support we've got in there for some economic resiliency. I appreciate the Weaverville Economic Development Advisory Committee. They kind of took a look at this for us recently, and a lot of their ideas are already built into what staff is looking at. We also have arts recovery. How can we support our arts community, businesses, co-working spaces, things like that, and under economic resiliency. And then several things under environmental resiliency. You've heard about the grant that we've recently received from Truist Bank for our urban canopy assessment and tree assessment, and then some reforestation efforts. We've got Eller Cove. I don't know whether you've seen pictures of that, the watershed, the 300 acres. It's devastating. That there is such a huge loss of trees up there, which is just heartbreaking in and of itself. But now we've got this added fuel load that makes it a really dangerous situation for fires. So that's on the list. Your Main Street Nature Park, we've had some success in getting some grant funding on some stormwater control measures with our stormwater ponds, making them more functional, and then some stream bank restabilization. And then there are perhaps a couple of properties that may end up through buyout through FEMA. So supporting those efforts. I just wanted to give you a taste of what you might see, and look forward to. I actually look forward to seeing what the final document is going to look like, and presenting that to you in the coming weeks.
Thank you. Any questions or comments regarding this? And just to remind everyone, this is Weaverville's portion of the countywide resiliency plan, which is supposed to be completed by the end of the year. And so we're working on our portion to make sure that it gets included. Thank you very much. Next up is a quarterly report from planning, and is Director Eller here, or? Oh, there he is. He's hiding.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As always, these particular months you have a quarterly report for the Planning Department presented. I won't go over the numbers other than to state that the total number of zoning permits issued was at 28, which means we're kind of on pace to go north of 100 zoning permits annually for several years running now. You've got the action of your planning board that, of course, rises to this level the next month in the form of recommendations. You can find recommendations related to a text amendment for conditional districts, a zoning map amendment at 21 College Crescent, and one of the subjects of the upcoming public hearing is residential signage that the planning board took action on in the previous months. You'll see that the Board of Adjustment did not meet during this time. As Manager Harris stated earlier this evening, we will have a Board of Adjustment meeting for the first time in a little while on August 11th, if I remember correctly. If you have an overwhelming desire to see what I believe to be the first vegetative buffer waiver that the town has ever heard, that's what we'll be up to that evening. So I'm curious to see how that goes as well.
Good luck to them.
The only other thing that comes to mind, the big news that we have is meetings continue with the Advent Health folks. We did receive a technical review committee submittal. We had that meeting a couple weeks ago. We've offered comment back to their civil engineers, so hopefully in the coming days we'll get round 2 in, and that will progress and we'll start seeing it come out of the ground in the next few months. Happy to answer any questions or address any comments anyone may have.
Any questions for the planning director? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is the Community Center quarterly report from the Director of the Community Center, Mr. DeSario.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. Thanks for having me back to do another quarterly report. As always, I'm trying to make this as short and sweet as possible, but still have some pertinent information. So if I'm missing stuff, please let me know. I'll make sure to include it or try to get that information. So I'll start out with our private rentals. Basically, it looks like they're split between resident and non-resident. It's about 70-30. So about 30% or 33% of our usage from rentals comes from residents, and then about 70% from non-residents. And you can see the total quarter rental revenue there, which is around $24,000. Next, I'll go into some updates about private rentals. We're still kind of tweaking with the amount of rentals to use or let happen with our capacity, with our staff. So it was right now just one rental per weekday. So one event on Saturday, one event on Sunday, one event on Friday. So we've tweaked that a little bit, added some capacity, and so now we're doing 2 events per weekend day, Friday through Sunday, but no concurrent events. In other words, someone's using the Albert Weaver room, there can't be another additional party using the multi-purpose room. So that's kind of led to some confusion, and it's really hard to manage with the on-call staff that we have. So basically, there can be 2 events per day, but just not happening at the same time. Makes sense. We're also revamping our deposit and cancellation policies. We've had some cancellations recently, and we are kind of looking about that date and how, kind of fixing the window there and figuring out if we need to extend that to be a little bit longer so that people need to cancel a little bit more ahead of time so that we can get another party in there. And basically ensure fairness and availability for others who might need the space. And then the new fee schedule, which you've seen, we're keeping the resident pricing very affordable, and we are increasing fees for non-residents. The next slide shows that new fee schedule, and you've had the chance to look at that, so I'm not going to go over all those. Next, I'll be talking about our community programs. As always, I want to give a shout out to the volunteers that drive our community programming. It's all led by volunteers, people that take time out of their day and schedule and really love what they do, frankly. So we're riding that wave as long as we can and trying to be thoughtful about how sustainable this is and making sure that the volunteers are, we check in on them and making sure they're doing well. So now we have over 30 different community programs occurring every month. If you check next to these updates, you can see even more community programming that we've been able to add. And that is the seated yoga, which is already kind of blown up from like 12 people to about 30 people. Evening yoga for people that are working 9 to 5 and want to try something in the evening. A drop-in line dancing class. So if you don't know what you're doing and you want to try, like myself, Musical meditation, where someone is live with a guitar and instruments and leads you through a meditation group. Another bridge group. And then, with the help of my teammate Kate, we've reinstituted the newsletter with all sorts of flyers and information, as well as we've established a social media presence too. So the next slide is just a snapshot of community events that have already happened, and this does not include the 4th of July, of course, but storytelling, we had 4 different storytellers: the Hobie Ford Puppet Show, Ray Christian, Carolina Roga, Nancy Pheasant, and then we had a theatrical performance, which was a story about Wilma Dykeman, and it's called Mostly in Her Words. And then we had Music in the Park, which turned out really well. Each one of these Music in the Parks got cut short by rain, but for the most part, the musicians were great and people were very flexible.
It wasn't to the last song last time.
Well, yeah, right. Well, he played through the intermission, which was really nice. Next up, I wanted to talk to you about Family Fridays. So with Family Fridays, basically, this was a new programming that we came up with for the summertime. And the slide's a little off there, so I don't know what happened with that. Sorry about that. But it's basically, the idea is that we wanted to open up some programming that really focused on parents with kids, especially in the summertime when they don't have a lot going on. We wanted to at least have some structure through those summer months where they had something, an event to look forward to. So we picked the rotation or the frequency of doing 2 events per month. So basically every other week there's something going on at the community center. So those events include a story time, toddler time, Lego Club combo, where it starts off where basically a storyteller who's Jill, who's also instrumental in getting the storytellers that you see during the evening time, a retired librarian. She'll do a story time for about 30 minutes, and then all the kids that are there after that, they can kind of run around on this foam carpet that we made, or put together. And then the kids that are a little bit too old for that can go and do Lego time right across the hall. And so we've heard great feedback from parents. We have some coffee, we have some other stuff for them so that they can kind of hang out. So it's been really nice. Now the next one is arts and crafts. That's been very well attended too. This is, just basically, once again, a bunch of people getting together, doing arts and crafts, coming away. They are able to walk away with something that they can take home. Movie nights, which I will say also, we've had generously sponsored by Advent Health. So it costs money to show each one of these movies, even if you're showing it to like 8 people. It's probably about $400. And you're like, wow, that's expensive for Goonies or something like that. So, but Advent Health has been very generous and basically paid for, we're doing 3 movies, so that's around $1,200, and that's what they basically sponsored for us over the summer. And then we've had Blue Mountain Pizza also generously let us use their popcorn making machine. So we're able to make popcorn, and they donated the popcorn and all the butter and seeds and all that kind of stuff, bags, and so we're able to do that for families as well. And the last one, cooking class, that's kind of a stretch, because basically we just kind of microwaved this almond bark, and then we gave the kids pretzels and strawberries and all these like goodies that you can dip in there and make stuff. And so I have a couple of pictures on there I'll show you. Go to the next one, if it came out. Yeah, great. So there's our movie night. It's kind of set up really family style with tables in the background where people can bring their food, get a pizza, bring it in, and then in the front where you can't really see, there's kids kind of laying on the ground with blankets and stuff like that. So. Next, the cooking class. That was super well attended and very fun. You can go to the next slide. You can see some of the kids and what they made and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's really sweet. And the next one is story time. You can see Jill spinning a yarn right there. And then arts and crafts. Again, very well attended. These families are looking for stuff to do. You can see our volunteer Peely in that one, a trusty teammate Kate, and myself trying to do our best not to get any paint on the pavement. And we did really good, actually. We did really good. Last one, or almost second to last, pickleball updates. We did our first successful round of Pickleball League. We had that, which was really great. Updating the court signage, that's on one of the things that we're doing next. And then we're also adding additional pickleball info into the community newsletter as well. And then we'll be considering a beginner's clinic for the next year. And then lastly, I'd just like to touch base on this, and this is our volunteer appreciation. So, you know, none of this program would happen without our volunteers. So we're going to be taking a month in the fall to basically honor them. And it'll be basically a month-long event where they'll have a long overdue appreciation. Each one of them will get a gift, and then we'll also have a group get together as well. So we want to make sure that we appreciate them and show them love, and I think that's it. Any questions?
Any questions or comments from council members? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up was our finance quarterly report from Finance Director Dozier.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So fiscal year 24-25 is closed out. The financial statements will be under audit next week. The auditors will be here August 4th through the 8th on site to conduct their work, and then they'll report their findings to you probably at your November meeting. If you look on page 83, I pulled together some of the summaries of our biggest revenue sources, just to give you an idea of where we ended the year. I know we've been watching these really closely this year after the storm. Keep in mind these are estimates. Some of these things like sales tax don't come in until 2 months after they're earned. We accrue them back into the year that's under audit. So these are likely to change. But if you look at the center column, the dollar variance column, you can kind of see where we ended. Like ad valorem taxes, DMV, and utility tax all are over budget. Sales tax and the Buncombe County fire tax did come in about 5% below budget. ABC store, we should never question them because they always come through at the end. I found out today they're sending another check for $106,000, which is going to push us over the $400,000. So we'll be about $50,000 to $60,000 over budget there. Interest income, rates never did drop the way we were expecting them to, so we earned quite a bit more than we had budgeted. Water revenues, I've told you before, I've never seen it below budget. It was this year, and we think due to the storm, just under 5% below budget. But system development fees, which are always hard to predict at the time, they came in well above budget. So overall, that almost 23,000, which will be higher after the ABC check, is still a positive variance overall in both funds. And then if you look at the final column, decrease over last year, you'll see that except for interest income, we were still higher than we were the previous year. So even though we were under budget on a couple of our revenue sources, we still ended the year higher than the previous year, which is good. And then at the bottom there, just a few things I thought you might be interested in. What we spent on capital projects, about $1.7 million on capital items like the vehicle, the new garbage truck, the knuckle boom truck, the water lines. Our paving program, we spent just over $500,000 on that, but we'll be reappropriating approximately $737,000 into the current year budget that will go towards our paving. Community center rental fees, we collected $59,000. Total parking enforcement fees collected were about $3,200, so very, very minimal. Grants
That was all on the
received-
4th of July, right?
Yeah, that'll be in this current year. I'll report that next year. Grants received, we have a lot in the works right now, but as far as what was received in FY25 was the Firehouse Subs grant of $35,000 for the rescue boat, and then the SRO reimbursement from the county of about $53,000. And then on the next page, the recreation complex, which has been open for quite a few years now. We're closing that capital project as of this year. If you look at the cumulative total column, 3 from the end, you'll see we spent a total of $485,000 on just the rec complex piece of that. This doesn't mean you can't put further money into it if you choose to. We could just do it as part of the general fund, or we could open up another capital project if it's significant. So community center totaled about $3.5 million. Rec complex has totaled close to $500,000. So between the two, about $4 million for both of those projects. And your next 2 pages are the water projects, which not much has happened there except for the engineering fees. And then the last page, page 87, is our grant fund for the hurricane recovery efforts. You'll see in the cumulative total column, we've spent about $1.5 million. We received $1.8 million back in the fall, so we still have not dipped into any of our funds yet. But out of that $1.5 million spent, you can see the first two line items of debris removal take up the bulk of that, which will remain the same as we go forward. We are still meeting every 2 weeks for FEMA. Our grant project manager says he's going home in October or November, so we're hoping to have it all wrapped up.
He can't go home until he's done.
Right. That's all I have for you tonight. Are there any questions I can answer?
Are there any questions for the finance director? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anything else of importance that needs to come before this board this evening?
Yes, before we adjourn, I'd like to circle back to the Maple Trace. I have the sense that the HOA or David King had comments they wanted to make, discussion about that. Is that true? And we didn't give them an opportunity to speak?
Sorry, I couldn't hear what she said.
She's referring back to an earlier agenda item regarding Maple Trace, and she's asking the folks from the HOA if they wanted to make some comments.
No. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, and staff. Got a great staff, I'll tell you that, for sure. I just want to go back over these 3 things. You know, this has been a long, frustrating road for Maple Trace. We're going on like 2 years. It seems like every time that we abided by what something needed to be done by the town, we did. And I can go back and go to certain instances where I talked to the people that were doing the repairs, and they said, this wasn't really necessary because of this, or so on and so on. And I could go back and give you a long list of things, you know, but we wanted to get this done, so we abide. But these things, these last 3, I just want to go down through and talk about those. The first one is about digging up the last section of the pipe. This is down by the, where the pond is, okay? Pond's over here on this side of the road. You got the road, and then you got the pipe that goes underneath. Nothing of this pipe going underneath the road, well, that's fine. There's no leakage or nothing. When you go on the other side where the pipe comes out, okay, it's very good. When they put that together, as far as the building, what they did, they took another little bigger pipe and shoved it on top of that other one and cocked it at an angle. So the water would run underneath the road, down that, a wide thing that comes out onto concrete, and then we'll go in there into another basin, and then into the creek. So that was purposely done that way, on an angle, which just looks like, well, it's not straight connected on. There's no intention to be that way. Plus the water comes straight out and, you know.
Speaking in the mic, it'll get captured on the audio.
Oh, okay. All right. So when we went down there and looked at that, and then I made some inquiries about it, and that was the purpose of that. So there's no disconnect there. There's no disconnect there where water will seep in and cause any kind of erosion. It wouldn't cause any problem at all with the, with the road. What it would do, it would cause erosion where all the water comes out from the main pipe that goes underneath the road. That's purposely fine. So that was designed that way to do that, so it would flow correctly. All right? Take it for what it's worth. The second thing, as far as the sediment pond, I've been the president of the HOA for the last 6 years. I just got elected for another 4 years. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I worked very closely with the Buncombe County on everything before we we took this over and approved it with Windsor Homes. I want to make sure everything was right. Worked very closely with the storm drain people of Buncombe County. We went through everything. We talked about the ponds. I had to sign a contract with them about the ponds. The contract that we have with Buncombe County, like Mr. Mayor, you mentioned before, okay, and when we first asked about the annexation, the first thing that we were told right off the bat, we're not taking the ponds, we're not taking the ponds, okay? In this contract that I signed with the county, it said that, and we signed it in 2024, that in 3 years, the county will come out and look at all the ponds we have and tell us what needs to be done. All right? The way this pond that we're discussing now sits down, and when they built this with the road, there is a difference as far as where the pipe that goes underneath the road sets up higher. There's quite a bit of distance, all right, that I have to fill up. That pond is strictly functional, everything. During the big storm we had, last fall, I mean, we had a tremendous amount of water. Our bridge that we had, okay, is up quite high. It goes across into the two neighborhoods. The water was going over top of that bridge, which is about 24 feet. David, myself, and other people went down that day to see what was going on. And while it was pouring and everything else going, trees were still coming down. We had 8 trees on our property. We went down with chainsaws to see what was going on. We saw all this water take away big sections of land and property down by the Reems Creek. No water was going across that road. It was draining fine. So we'd have to have a horrendous downpour of rain to do anything to that road. Now, I've heard also in other past conversations about the road, and that's why the road is breaking up in certain spots. That section of the road where the pond is, and when the way it was designed to be that way so it would drain right, nothing's wrong with that section of the pond. Perfectly fine. No patches, no nothing. And my question is there, if that pond really needed attention, I think we would have had a serious problem with that storm. And we were down there that day, no water was going over that road. That thing worked perfectly. All right? And we do have a commitment with Denton, with Buncombe County, that we will get those inspected and do what we need to do. But right now, I believe with that pipe and that pond, nothing is needed to be done. I think I'll be honest with you, and I'm a little pissed off about this thing. I think we've really been nickel and dimed quite a bit, but a lot of these things that were over-exaggerated through this whole process. I just hope in the future, once we get over this hump with us, that other HOAs, because we've talked, David and I both have talked to other HOAs, they're scared to crap right now. They're scared to come to the council and have the town look and try to bring them into the town because they're afraid of the same thing. They're getting nickel and dime to death. And we did. The thing that really bothers me, the first time we sat down in a meeting, okay, about this annexation, one person raised his hand, and what did he say? And he said it in this meeting about over 2 years ago, which blew my mind. Maple trees should not be in the town of Weaverville. How the heck can you make a statement like that when you got a beautiful development with 134 homes, with good people, 75% of those are retired, the rest of them are professional people, and you say right away at the first meeting, we don't want you, you shouldn't be in this meeting. That just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, the last thing on the thing, replace the pipe going from the catch basin to catch basin. And again, I can tell you a story about the catch basins. We went up there and looked at that also. There's pipes coming down the road and they're draining fine. We looked at right after the rain, David and I, there was no water going through that section there. I don't know why they even put it there. we had a section, when we went with the county came out, and David can probably talk to this, and there was another section that was questionable, all right? And the county wrote us a letter and said, hey, at this point here, and this is nothing, okay, we're just connected. And they said it would be more costly in the long run if we did this. It would cause possibly more, sinkholes. It would cause the road to settle. It would probably cause more problems and more money later on to repair it. Okay? So that's all I got to say about these things. Plus, I'm a little emotional tonight because, as the president, I'm trying to get this done. And as a former businessman myself with a large blue chip company, I would never let this stuff go through like this. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you. So, Councilman Lawrence,
David wants to
you
speak
did have the,
also.
do you want something to say, Sue? Let's make it quick, okay?
To make one correction, David King, Vice President of Maple Trace. To make one correction, that was Mattern and Craig Engineering Company who suggested not to take that up. He said they would cause more problems and is not a functional issue. We have tried our very best to comply. We've done what we could at every turn. We've got around $200,000 or more in this project. That's how serious we are about being Weaverville. And yes, we want it to be Weaverville, but we also want to have the same services as others, and that's our roads to be taken in. So if you were to look at like the one item he's talking about, that drain from a catch basin to a catch basin. It's functioning. It sees very little water because it's an overflow. My question to the council would be, if Weaverville already had this, would you go out there and dig up a functioning line to make a minor repair to it? Our roads and our drains in Weaverville, compared to other communities in Weaverville, are as good, if not better, because they are not as old. So, back to what he was saying about a former member of town management who really did everything possible to derail this. And now we've had to pay the consequence for 2 years. And we're asking for council to look at this and recognize that we have completed what we need to complete. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Lawrence, I believe you've got possession of the engineering report he's referring to, which actually just finds the same faults but has different conclusions. So, managers, I hope that you will take the report, which I asked Councilman Lawrence to forward to you. I don't know if he's done that yet, and determine which of these repairs really are necessary and what are actual costs. It may well be that we're pursuing something that's unnecessary.
I think one of the reports was done in November prior to the flushing, one was done after. It seems like the one that's more current would be the one that we should follow.
But let's compare the two, and I asked Councilman Lawrence to make a comparison to, and he's done that, so I hope you would forward that to Manager Harris as well. Thank you, guys. Anything else? If there's nothing else to come before this board tonight, we're adjourned.
I'd just like to say I'm so happy that John is the engineer on our team.